Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Chuck Graham Show. I want to touch base on a couple of issues. One is the Coke and their God, folks, segregation is over. But now what you're doing is you're isolating and you're trying to make people feel bad about being white. I don't apologize for being white. If you don't like that, all I can say is fuck off. I'm not gonna. I'm not. The bottom line is you shouldn't apologize for being black. That's the most racist thing I've ever seen in my life. Segregation is over. When I was in college, I did a paper on the letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King. And I did that paper, and I wish I still had it. I'd post it. But I had a whole newfound respect for Dr. King. And let me tell you, folks, if anybody tells you, and I've had people tell me that, that was just an honorary doctorate, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. He graduated from Boston University. And while he was getting his doctorate, when he was earning his doctorate, he was an assistant minister. And I forget the name of the church. But he had the right idea. You judge someone by their character, not the color of their skin. They fought like hell in the 60s, and I live in Mississippi. They fought like hell for desegregation. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But now it seems to me that they're trying to revert back to segregation. But on the flip side of that, they want to segregate white people. Well, that shit's not going to work, okay? I'm not going to sit there and kiss nobody's ass because of the color of their skin. That's just the way it is. You have every opportunity in this country. You hold your fate in your hand. And let me tell you something. You want to get pissed off? When I first started a business, I was told by a banker that I could give you the money. This is no shit. This is 20 years ago. I can give you the money. I have minority loans through the SBA, Small Business Association, that if you were a minority, not necessarily black, but a minority, then I've got loans for you. But since you're a white guy, I can't help you. So I made do. I worked around it, and I found a way around it. But it really ticked me off because it's nothing but reverse discrimination. That's it. I've never been racist in my life. And the bottom line is I think people have every opportunity afforded to them as anybody else does. Have you ever been to there's poor ass white people too, and there's a hell of a lot more successful black. There are successful black people that are a hell of a lot more successful than me. Now, look at the late Herman Cain, very successful man. I loved Herman Cain. He was a great man. You judge people by what they do, not the color of their skin. Period. And it pisses me off that Coca-Cola, and I'll never buy none of their products. If it's made by Coke, they can fuck off. I will never buy their products again. And the bottom line is this. You don't do stuff like that. You are inciting just a resentment that knows no bounds. People, I don't care if you're black, if you're China or Chinese or Asian or whatever. You have just as much opportunity and sometimes more opportunity if you put in the work that's needed to accomplish it. And let's just look at Jeff Bezos. And I can't stand his politics, but I've looked at pictures when he first started Amazon. He got where he is today because he worked hard. That's it. The Google brothers, YouTube, all of those people built these platforms because somebody at some point fucking worked hard. And quit letting, and all I can say to the black community is quit letting people victim shame you. Even when I was a cop, it never crossed my mind. If you look like a thug, then you're probably a thug. I can remember one time I pulled over, and I'll never forget him. I pulled over a guy on the interstate. He wasn't black. His name was Raul. He had a rap sheet probably. You could probably string it from a 9-foot ceiling, and you'd have it there, armed robbery, all of it. And I arrested him, and I worked by myself. So I put him in between the door and the thing. And I had all kind of little techniques that I would use just in case I had to dump him, or I didn't want to end up in the middle of the interstate fighting somebody. So handcuffed him through the door, took him back to the back, searched his car. He didn't have anything, so it obvious to me he was probably hiding money. But I didn't have a dog or a canine, and it was 2 a.m, and I don't think the judge is going to issue a search warrant for his car. Anyway, my point being is this. You control your fate. You. Not anybody else. Let me tell you something. We have constitutional rights in this country, okay? Those rights are individually given, not as a collective group, not as a group, black community, white community, Asian community. Those are not given to community groups. Your constitutional rights are individual constitutional rights. Just like your relationship with Christ is a personal relationship with Christ between you and him. It's this collective thinking is brainwashing and should be labeled as disinformation. Not that I think you should take it down. As like I said in a post, everybody's had that dumbass friend that we have all known is full of shit. And so scrubbing out his dissenting opinion is wrong. Don't mind my cats back there. I think I don't know, they're crazy. Point being is this. We all hold our futures in our hands. And the fact is this, people. Black people are not victims. They're just as well capable of doing anything any white person can do, and they should be proud of their heritage. And just like I've always said, a baby don't get born from a woman's womb and then turn around and start running a Fortune 500 company. There's a fucking process. Yes, George Washington had slaves, but the debate when we were building this country was how can we have slaves? And that was actually on the floor when they were ratifying our Constitution. It took a process, people. This cancel culture shit has got to go. You don't take his statutes down because, oh, well, he had slaves. It's a process. And over time, the amendments got in and we abolished slavery. And we were way ahead of the world on that, by the way. It's a process. You can't use today's rationale for yesterday's because it was a process. When you come out of your mother's womb, you have to learn to walk and talk and go to school and graduate high school, go to college, and then you work your way up the corporate ladder to run a Fortune 500 company. This shit doesn't happen overnight. People evolve over time. Not their moralities, and God doesn't change. But the process evolves over time. And that is how this country grew to what it is today, which is the greatest country in the world, if it is not destroyed by the left. That's hell-bent on enacting policies that are, in fact, in my opinion, is going to be bad and destructive. But we have the power of vote. That's what we have. Just like when you get pulled over by the police, they have 100 different ways to prosecute you. You have one way to stop them, and that's shut up under the Fifth Amendment. And it's for innocent people, not guilty people. Just because you shut your mouth doesn't mean you're guilty. Ohio versus Rayner. Go look it up. That's all for me today. I'm just tired of this. I'm not racist. Anybody I know, It's terrible. Tired of this. I'm sick of it. Cancel culture, victim shaming, white privilege, which doesn't exist. Just covered that. Didn't get the loan, right? Had to figure out another way to do it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so and click that notification bell. And we love you. Stay safe, and bye-bye.